Guys, how the fuck? Yeah. Just got done watching The Deer Hunter on Netflix. All right. This is a long fucking movie. Me and Grogu got our headbands on because, one shot. One shot. But little inside joke for if you watch the movie later on. It's a must fucking see. This movie's a 10 out of 10. It's fucking platastic. It's got an all-star cast. I'll get into that later. But this movie is just fucking amazing. All right, it's 3 hours long. All right, don't shoot the messenger, man. All right, but give it some time. If you gotta watch it in little spurts, do it. If you could watch it all at once, even better. But this movie's from 1978. All right, I love myself some old 70s movies, but bro, we got De Niro in here. We got Christopher Walken. I got Meryl Streep. I got John Savage. John Cazale before he passed away at towards the end of this movie. And it's directed and co-written by Michael Cimino. All right. And the way this movie goes, it feels like it's a Scorsese movie, or feels like it's the guy that did all the Godfather movies. But either way, I mean, the movie's fucking phenomenal. Go watch it. It starts out in 1968. All right, where we got three buddies. They're all Russian American steel workers. All right, living in fucking Pennsylvania, Shittsville, and I'm telling you, these guys, they're so likable when they're all together. And there's other friends too. There's some side characters like John Cazale's character and two others. One of them runs a local bar, and the other one's this big fucking dude. But they're all great when they're together. It's a lot of fun, and you feel like you're part of the gang. The director did a great job at just staying with these guys and just letting them hang out and do their thing. They all work great together. But what's happening in this movie is one of the friends, Steve, all right, he gets engaged to this girl, Angela, who's secretly impregnated by someone else. I don't think they say it in the movie who it is, but it's not Steve's kid. So it sets up this big fucking wedding. And all these the three boys made a pact. They're like, you know what? We're gonna go to Vietnam. We're gonna go serve. We're gonna go serve for our country. And it's very patriotic when they do it. That part was really fucking cool. And there's the whole town's in on it. Like they ship them off. They had a big party, for them. Even after the wedding scene when Steve and Angela. By the way, the church set it's phenomenal. It's amazing. Like the way they got everything, it looks fantastic. And during this wedding, hold on. Before I go further, you also have the two real main characters, Nick and Mike, which are, your Nick's played by Christopher Walken, Mike's played by Robert De Niro. And these two guys live together, but they're both in love with the same girl, Linda, who's played by Meryl Streep. And she looks pretty good in this movie, I'm not going to lie. So they're both in love with her, but De Niro's character, Mike, is very socially awkward. He's like the weird one in the group. Nick's character, played by Christopher Walken, he's a lot cooler. He's pretty much the lead of the whole gang. But during the wedding, during Steve and Angela's wedding, Nick proposes to Linda just on the spot before he gets shipped out with the other two boys, and Linda says yeah. So after that, they go on their final deer hunt. Right, so the wedding's over. They're driving over, to I don't know, the fucking mountains or whatever they're at. That looks good too. And they go on their final deer hunt where Mike just takes on this fucking big fucking deer with one shot. And if you continue on later, you're going to know what one shot means. It's fucked up. This whole movie's fucked up. But that's after the hunt. All right. Before I go into like major fucking spoilers. After into town, they park, and then the movie cuts to them already in fucking Vietnam, being held captive by the Viet Cong. They're in fucking cages next to the river. There's fucking rats in the river eating people's faces and shit. It's disgusting. It's awful. And then the worst part of all is the Viet Cong are forcing all the captives to play Russian roulette against each other, just one after the other, just killing them all off till they all just die. It's truly fucking awful. And then sometimes you'll get a guy that's still fucking kicking, after he gets shot. We got by the way, I'm going into fucking spoiler territory now. So if you want to watch the movie before I just go into my top 5 and some other shit that I'm going to ramble on about, go watch it and then come back. But if you're ready for it, I'm going to fucking lay it down. Steve has to play Russian roulette, and his fucking bullet goes off, but it kind of like grazes his fucking head, so he's all fucked up after that. And the Viet Cong throws Steve into this water pit. It's like a cage. It's all he can do is like barely put his fucking head up, but he's getting fucking munched on by rats and shit. He's crying for help. And then Mike becomes a fucking badass right here, right? This is where he's like, all right, listen, we're gonna get the fuck out of here. We're gonna ask for fucking 3 bullets in the gun, three bullets each. So what he's planning on is living through a round of Russian roulette with his boy Nick. He wants them to pit each other against each other, mano y mano, just so they can live one round and then shoot up the fucking place afterwards. It's fucking insane. That is the craziest plan ever, and it ends up working. All right, but I don't know if I should just keep talking about it or go into top 5, but let's just keep talking about it. Fuck it. It's too good. So they blast out of their guns fucking blazing, right? Boom, 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 boom. Viet Cong are fucking dying everywhere, and they get Steve out of the fucking pit. He's all fucked up and shit. And then they seek refuge on a fucking log, and they're just floating down the river, all the way down the river until you see a big, chopper coming to save them. So the chopper swings around, picks up Nick. Nick gets inside the chopper, but the chopper's full. So it can't take Steve, and it can't take fucking Mike. So Steve and Mike are hanging on the fucking bottom of the chopper like fucking monkey bars. But Steve is so fucked up from being shot in the head, chewed up by rats. He just doesn't have the strength. So Mike's trying to hold on to Steve using his legs. I mean, it's freaking crazy. But they both end up falling back into the river, and that's where Steve just fucking hits the rocks, and his legs just completely shattered. He loses his legs. It's awful. It's gory. This movie's fucking gross, by the way. It's really messed up, and then you get to the part where I guess Mike just saves him by picking him up and just taking him back himself. It's a lot. It's a lot. And yeah, this is a 3-hour movie, so like the first part of the movie is you meet the characters, you get to go to the wedding, the deer hunt and all that. The next part, and I'm separating them into hours. So that hour is there. This hour is where you're in Vietnam and you got the Russian roulette. You got the what do you call it? They get saved. And then the last part is where they go back home. And going back home is really weird because not all of them go back home. Like Nick never goes back home. Even though he got saved, he's so messed up in the head and so tormented by everything. He just keeps playing Russian roulette, underground style. And he's really good. He's making all this money, but he's not really there. He's just messed up in the head, and he just keeps playing and keeps playing. And he's sending this money to Steve, who's right now he's currently in a military hospital, just because he doesn't want to go back to his wife and his wife's kid because he's got no legs, he's messed up in the head, and he just really doesn't want to go back home. Mike, miraculously, he ends up being okay after the whole ordeal. He's the only one, he got shot, but like he doesn't really have nothing going on with him. Like he made it. So he goes back home. He doesn't allow himself to come back to the welcoming party waiting for him back in his hometown. He kind of lets that die out, and he just wants to meet up with Linda one-on-one. And this is where I gotta say, for Mike's character, I'm not judging Robert De Niro. By the way, De Niro, if you're listening, I love you. Mike meets up with Linda, and they get to talk, and you could tell he wants he wants to make a fucking move, all right? But they're playing it a little safe, but it's a little there's just something there, and it's great. I love it. Um, they give each other comfort, and that's a little word they use later on, but it's nice. And oh, Mike goes to Angela's house to see. All right, well, where's Steve? Steve's not at Angela's house. Steve's still just in the hospital. So he's like, what the fuck? Steve should be back home now. So he goes to the hospital, and that's where Steve's just all probably pilled up or whatever the fuck they're doing to him over there, and he's got this fucking drawer full of money, like loaded with fucking cash. And he figured it out because Steve's like, man, this money just keeps coming from Saigon. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but it just keeps coming. So he goes, he puts it all together. He goes, that's fucking Nick. That's Nick. Nick sending you that money from fucking Vietnam. He's still playing Russian roulette. So 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 fucking Mike goes all the way back to Vietnam to save Nick, right? This is fucking crazy. And when you really get to see like the cityscapes of Vietnam, and the whole fucking city's on fire, there's people running around everywhere. It's insane. There's hookers having sex while their fucking baby's still in the crib and all that stuff. It's brutal. Um, but he eventually finds Nick, and they're in this underground club. Not a club, it's just like it looks like Fight Club, but it's just for Russian roulette. And he finds Nick there, and Nick's so fucking out of it, doesn't even recognize Mike. Mike's trying to push him and hit him and all this shit to get him to understand nothing's working. So Mike's like, all right, motherfucker, we're gonna play Russian roulette, you and me, bitch. And dude, they go play Russian roulette, and as he's playing, there's like fucking 50 to 100 people watching this matchup. And as they're taking turns and stuff, Mike's trying to reach out through Nick with all the memories, like, hey, come on, man, you remember me, you fucking remember me, one shot. And when he says one shot, it's referring to killing the buck with one shot, their last hunting trip. And Christopher Walken's character Nick, he's like, yeah, one shot. And he fucking takes the gun, shoots himself after saying one shot. Fucking dead right there. Blood everywhere. It's spewing. It's awful. Robert De Niro's character Mike is just crying. It's an awful fucking feeling in your stomach. If you get a little nauseous during movies, this one's gonna make you fucking puke. Not because it's that gross, it just really makes you feel fucking horrible. But yeah, man, it's a fucking ride. And then the movie ends over at their funeral and stuff. I'm pretty sure Mike and Linda end up together, but that's not the point. The point is that's a fucking hell of a story, but it's a good movie. Please go. No, it's not a good movie. It's a fucking great movie. Go watch that shit. Let me go into top 5 real quick. Might as well. I wrote it down anyways. Number 1, I just wanted to write down The Wedding. The Wedding, I mostly like it because of how big it was. Like you spend a lot of time in the church, and then you go to the after party, which is at this, I don't know what the fuck they call them, ballroom areas, but that whole shebang was just a lot of fucking fun. It feels like you're being welcomed into like this new cool Russian Catholicism type culture. It's just very different to see how they get married, and I thought that was pretty neat. Number 2, I wrote the scene where I think is John Cazale's character. He forgets his boots. Now, I was recommended this film. This is a big shout out, by the way, and hopefully that for you subscribers that know who I'm going to shout out right now, give them a heads up on this and tell them to subscribe. This one's going out to Mr. Hackett. Mr. Hackett, did I go watch The Deer Hunter several fucking months ago, right? And I never got around to it, but I trusted his word. So, Mr. Hackett, Hugh, if you see me, man, I watched the movie, I loved it, and my number 2 is going to be, you forgot your boots. So John Cazale's character forgets his fucking boots, and he's asking if anyone will let him borrow his boots, and that's where you get you get Mike's character played by De Niro. It's like, fuck yourself, man. You always forget something. You forget your coat, you forget your jacket one time. Sometimes you forget your fucking gun. Now you forget your boots. Go fuck yourself. These are my fucking boots. And he's got a second pair, but he's not going to give it to him because he can just fuck right off. That's an awesome scene. Number 3 is the Viet Cong forcing the Americans to play Russian roulette. Just the fun fact, real quick, plat fact. This has been like a controversial thing where, you know, a lot of people say, you know, the Viet Cong didn't actually make people play Russian roulette and all that, and it was a big problem when this movie came out. Apparently, I did some reading into it, but I guess the director made no comment on it. So, but it's me and this guy are wearing our fucking bandanas, ready to blow our brains out. So, it's a cool scene and it's iconic. Number 4, Steve's rescue attempt. Oh my god, dude! I think even though Nick died, Steve had it the worst in this fucking movie. He had to get married. He got married in a rush in like a shotgun style wedding to a woman who was secretly impregnated by someone else. He didn't even find out. He gets shot in the head, gets tortured, he pretty much eaten by rats, and then loses his fucking legs, and then has all this fucking emotions going on in his head where he doesn't even want to go home. Like Steve definitely suffers the most in this fucking movie, but he lives. And number 5, of course, is that iconic one-shot scene. Awful, man. I was watching that and it just gives you fucking creeps. I got some plat facts here for you too, if you like. This is considered the 53rd greatest American film movie ever made. I forgot what the source is, but it's true. It should actually, if it's untrue, it should be higher. This is definitely in my top fucking 10 for sure. John Cazale died of lung cancer the same year this was made. So he also did he was in The Godfather too, and there's something where I guess Meryl Streep stayed at his bedside till he passed. There's, you know, it's real nice stuff. And this was also made on a budget of 15 million and went on to make just shy of 50 million. How are you? Good for them, man. This movie definitely still holds up. You know, it looks awesome. I would definitely watch it again. And it's just weird that I didn't know about this movie till recently. You know, like normally I know a lot about movies, especially 70s movies, but this one's fantastic. Go watch The Deer Hunter. It's on Netflix right now. They are taking away a lot of. I talked about this on the Platinum Pod. They are taking away a couple good movies on Netflix. Rocky Balboa, and but this just came on not too long ago. So go watch it. You'll have a great time, guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, and as always, stay platinum. One shot.